Hi, I'm Gael, and in this video I'm going to introduce you to 3 hikes in Europe you probably never heard of, but that are worth being on your radar. Those are all long-distance trails, which is what I call a trail that is over 500 kilometers. I'm not going to mention the most famous ones like the Camino or the HRP, and will stick with lesser known ones. You can find in the description below links to information about those trails, and at the end of the video I'll tell you what trails are at the top of my list. Oh, and just one thing, I apologize in advance for butchering the names of some trails. Let's start with the UK. There are a few great coastal trails like the Southwest Coast Pass and the Wales Coast Pass. There is the Scottish National Trail that I hiked in 2022 and really enjoyed. The northern third of the trail is on the CYPRUS Trail, which is considered one of the most beautiful trails in the UK. You also have the end-to-end trail covering the length of the UK. The Scottish section is slightly different to the Scottish National Trail. Then you have the Ulster Way, a circular trail going through the 6 counties of Northern Ireland. The Nordkalotten is a 800-kilometer trail going through Finland, Norway and Sweden. You have the St. Olav Way, which is the northernmost pilgrimage. Like the Camino, it's actually a network of trails. You have St. Olavsleden, a coast-to-coast walk from the Baltic Sea in Sweden to the Atlantic Ocean in Norway. The Gudbrandsdalen Trail is also part of this network. There's also the Skaneleden, a 1400-kilometer trail in Sweden. There is the Forest Trail that crosses the 3 countries, Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania. It is part of the E11 Trail. There's the Baltic coastal hiking route going along the coast of the 3 countries, and that is part of the E9 Trail. In Poland you can find the main Beskid Trail, which is the longest in the country. You can hike the SNP Trail, which is the Slovakian section of the E8 Trail in the Carpathians. There is the Czech Trail going around the country, and this one is on far out, so that's a plus. Though I wasn't able to find the exact length of this trail. Some websites, like the official one for the trail, say it's 1000 kilometers, but other ones, like Far Out, say it's 2000 kilometers. So let me know if you hike this trail and have the real answer. The longest trail in Germany is the Goldsteig in Bavaria. The Rheinhöhenweg Trail passes a lot of beautiful castles along the Rhine Valley. It's a bit like the French GR3 that follows the Loire River from beginning to end, with amazing castles all the way. The Arnoweg Trail takes you in the Austrian mountains around Salzburg. The Grande Traversata delle Alpi through the Italian Alps is probably the most exciting long trail in Italy. There's also the Sentiero Italia across the entire country, but this one isn't finished yet. There are also a couple of pilgrimages, like the Via Francigena, a 2000-kilometer trail from Canterbury in England to Rome. This one can be nice if you're looking for a pilgrimage that's a bit more off the beaten track than the Camino Francis. And you have a shorter one, the Way of St. Francis, or Via di Francesco, from Florence to Rome. I did this one and really enjoyed it. It goes through a ton of beautiful towns and villages. There are a lot of long-distance trails in France. If I had to pick 2, that would be the GR6 and the GR9. Well, actually, I would add the GR3 along the Loire River that I mentioned earlier. I walked a section of it and really liked it, so I wouldn't mind doing the whole thing. In Spain, you have the GR1, the Sentiero Italia, just south of the Pyrenees, the GR160 or Camino del Cid, the GR7, who was the first long-distance trail to be marked in Spain. It is part of the E4 Trail. And last but not least, the GR131 in the Canary Islands. The GR22, or Grande Rota das Aldeias Históricas, is a 560-kilometer trail connecting 12 historical villages in Portugal. The Slovenian mountain trail is 550 kilometers long. You can find the Croatian long-distance trail on Far Out. In Romania, you have the newly opened Via Transilvanica. The Kom Emine is a 650-kilometer trail. It is the Bulgarian section of the E3 Trail. The National Blue Trail is the Hungarian section of the E4. You can combine the Pindos Way and the Peloponnese Way for a nice through hike of mainland Greece. In Cyprus, you can walk the section of the E4 trail that goes across the island. Now let's have a look at trails that go over several countries. There are of course other e-trails, but most of them are not realistically doable in one go as a through hike. The Tromfad, also known as the Munich to Venice Trail. I heard that this one is possibly one of the best hikes in Europe. But be aware that the trail spends quite some time in Austria, where you're required to stay in refuges, which makes for an expensive hike. The Alpe Adria Trail through Italy, Slovenia and Austria. Then you have the Via Dinarica trails in the Balkans. The White Trail tries to include the highest peak of each country. The blue and green trails are still in development. The blue one will take you closer to the coast and the green one in the forest. There used to be a network of 5 Via Alpinas of all sizes, but now it's down to just one, that was known as the Red Trail, which was the longest one. Though the other trails are still hikeable with a bit of research, they just won't be developed any further. There is the green one in Switzerland and Liechtenstein, the yellow one through Italy, Austria and Germany, the blue one through Italy, Switzerland and France. This one follows the Grande Traversata delle Alpi for a while. The purple one through Slovenia, Austria and Germany. And the red one, now officially the only one, through Italy, Slovenia, Liechtenstein, Switzerland, Germany, Austria, France and Monaco. That's right, 8 countries through the Alps. Sounds alright to me. Now, what are the trails I would hike? Well, most of them sound really good to me, but if I had to pick 3, I'd say the White Dinarica Trail. I just love the idea of exploring the Balkans on foot. I actually planned to hike this trail back in 2023, but that didn't work out and I had to cancel my hike, but hopefully I'll be able to do it in a few years. Then the GR131 in the Canary Islands. This one I didn't only plan to hike, but started it. Unfortunately, COVID and some other incidents decided otherwise, and I had to come back home after hiking only Lanzarote. But walking the Lanzarote section and the research I did to prepare for the trail really make me think it's probably one of the most unique and beautiful trails in Europe. I'll be back there for sure. And finally, the Via Alpina is definitely at the top of my list for obvious reasons. It's a long and epic trail going through 8 countries in the Alps. I think it has the potential to be one of the best through hikes in the world, but somehow a lot of people never heard of it. I just can't wait to hike this amazing trail. Okay, now have you hiked any of those trails and do you recommend them? Which one are you the most interested to hike? Do you feel like some are missing from the list? Let me know in the comments and I'll see you next time with a similar video about trails around the world. Thanks for watching and happy trails!